Here for you with 6 News at 5.
All across the country, people are pausing to remember the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is our top story at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tony Garcia. Lauren is off tonight. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission of Mid-Michigan will air its annual event right here on TV6 tonight. Kira Lake is here for you now with how the commission is honoring Dr. King along with 4 other civil rights icons.
They were children, teenagers, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids who took on that responsibility to integrate that high school when the entire world was watching.
Commission Chair Elaine Hardy says during this year's celebration, they will be recognizing the 65th anniversary of the Little Rock crisis by welcoming 4 of the Little Rock 9. This historic moment in time became the center of the struggle to desegregate public schools in America and mobilize the nation to ensure access to quality education. The Little Rock 9 volunteered in 1957 to desegregate one of the nation's largest all-white high schools.
What I've concluded overall is that life itself is difficult. No getting around it.
And one of the most difficult points in Dr. Terrence Roberts' life happened at just 15 years old. He was one of the Little Rock 9 and a young child working to unite the country.
I could hear the mob even before I arrived. I mean, they were boisterous.
On the first day of classes, they were denied entry by the Arkansas National Guard. And on the second try, about 3 weeks later, they had to leave early to avoid rioting.
Oh, I knew there would be opposition, no question about it. But the folk came out with murder in their eyes, and they were there every day. And they gathered outside the school, which made it impossible for us to travel back and forth. We had to be escorted.
Escorted by federal troops sent by the president, who remained throughout the school year. The following school year, the governor closed all Little Rock high schools pending a referendum to prevent integration. Little Rock citizens voted almost 3-1 in favor of the referendum, and the schools remained closed as the legal fight over desegregation continued. All grades in Little Rock public schools were finally integrated in 1972, but Roberts explains just how important voting is.
In the kind of government we have, voting is essential.
He says if we don't vote, we don't have an active government.
Because only a few people vote, which means that their will can be done, but other people are left out.
Without all of us adding our voice to our democracy, we don't have a democracy.
And during tonight's celebration, along with highlighting the importance of voting, both Roberts and Hardy want people to see that Dr. King was here on this planet to teach America how to heal its soul.
He was not just, as some people say, a great leader for black people. No, that wasn't his role. His role was to confront the entire country, let them know that you're suffering from this sickness. Part of it is this racist ideology we've embraced, but more than that, the greed and the selfishness and all of those things that get in the way of becoming a productive society at all levels.
Tonight's event will air here on WLNS at 7 o'clock. Here for you in Lansing, Kira Lake, 6 News.
State Attorney General Dana Nessel issued a statement in honor of MLK Day, saying his dedication to bettering our country carried a power to alter hearts, transform minds, and create change. May we all use this day to reflect on his influence as a guide in our own lives. And in Washington, a son of the civil rights leader led a march calling for action on a bill protecting voting rights. The Senate will take up debate tomorrow, but the legislation faces an uphill battle after President Biden's efforts to overcome Republican opposition hit a wall last week. Skylar Henry is here for you now with the latest from our nation's capital.
On this holiday marking his father's birthday, Martin Luther King III led a peace walk across Washington's Frederick Douglass Bridge. He called on Congress to pass stricter protections for voting rights.
If you can deliver an infrastructure bill for bridges, you can deliver voting rights for Americans. If you do not, there's no bridge in this nation that can hold the weight of that failure.
The bill would remove restrictions that Republicans say enhance election security. But with its passage in doubt, advocates say the nation is at a critical point.
We need to have protections at the polls and to make sure that we can get there safely.
The King family wants changes now, putting more pressure on Congress to pass sweeping voting rights reform to give more Americans access to the ballot and not allow Senate rules to stand in their way.
The unmitigated gall to hide behind cloture and the filibuster, two procedural hurdles. When black people turned the tide to get Joe Biden elected, it puts me beside myself.
Last Thursday, two moderate Senate Democrats, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, threw their support behind the legislation, but they do not approve of changing Senate rules in order for it to pass. Its failure would be a stinging blow to the president, who said it's not enough to praise Dr. King on this holiday. It's time for action.
We must commit to his unfinished work, to deliver jobs and justice, to protect the sacred right to vote.
The Senate plans to debate the voting rights bill on Tuesday, and the president says whatever happens, he'll continue the fight. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Many are marking today with acts of service around the country, and for one group on the front lines of COVID, that service never really ends. And that's why a Michigan lawmaker spent part of the day helping and listening. Josh Sanchez is here for you now with the story.
Tony, Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin visited Sparrow Hospital to get an up-close look at the working conditions for healthcare workers. She called her time there a reality check on the crisis. Slotkin spent some time preparing visitors with special protective equipment so they could go into the ICU and see their loved ones battling the disease. She spent time listening to the staff at Sparrow, and also most talked about the mental and physical exhaustion of caring for patients and about dwindling supplies. Slotkin added that hearing their stories was frustrating.
It was heartbreaking to hear the stories of these spouses who are going to see, their husband who's 56 years old, who's laying on his stomach, who a week ago was out at home and who now can't even lift his head. The state of Michigan is sitting on $4 billion of COVID relief. While the Michigan State House passed a spending bill, the Senate has not, and in my mind, that is literally reprehensible.
Slotkin went on to say that while at-home testing kits may free up some hospital resources, getting more people vaccinated is the key to curbing this pandemic. Tony, back to you.
Thank you, Josh. President Biden returns to the White House this evening with some unfavorable poll numbers, showing fewer Americans now think he's doing a good job handling the pandemic, and this comes as COVID cases continue to surge. Nearly 1 year into the White House, President Biden is not only still battling a pandemic, but now also public opinion on his administration's response. A new CBS poll shows the president's rating on handling the pandemic is down to the lowest point of his presidency, with just 36% of those surveyed saying the COVID response is going well. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is frustrated with the lag time on responses.
The president announced nearly a month ago, before Christmas, that he was going to distribute these 500 million rapid tests out across the country, and so far we haven't seen any.
In the meantime, the White House says it's unveiling its website on Wednesday for Americans to sign up for free at-home COVID tests. And of course, be sure to stay with 6 News. We are staying on top of the latest surge in COVID-19, and we'll keep you updated with all the latest on the pandemic on air, online at WLNS.com, and on the 6 News app.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
It's that time of the year where meteorologists across the northern U.S. just basically watch every day looking for that next big winter storm. For us, I don't have a whole lot of snow in the forecast. If you're heading up north, maybe a little more there. You can see how the blue's adding up to the north. That's the first clipper system, an Alberta clipper that moves through, drops some snow across northern portions of the state. And then here comes the second one late next week. But as you can see, here in mid-Michigan, still an inch or 2 in a week's worth of snow. Not a whole lot, and even up north, 6 to 10 inches, while respectable, they certainly can see a lot more in that part of the state, so no one's seeing an excessive amount of snow over the next week. Odds of at least 2 inches. If we were going to see that here in mid-Michigan, I suppose Sunday with a little better chance of snow showers may be worth watching, but other than that, really low chances we see any appreciable snow. What we've got out there today is the worst kind of precipitation. It's light, patchy, freezing drizzle. As you look at the satellite radar, it's so light radar doesn't really pick it up, but it's out there, and we've had some reports of some slide-offs in western portions of the state. It'll begin to subside later tonight, though, and replaced by a couple snow showers maybe tomorrow. As you look at the computer models through tomorrow morning on PrecisionCast, a little better chance of snow to our northwest. That's our next weather maker. As we move into Tuesday evening, warning. That system's getting close, and there's a slight little push of warm air, and we're talking just above the freezing mark, but it may be warm enough for some rain and snow showers or a light wintry mix early Wednesday morning. Temperatures by around 2 or 3 in the morning will be above freezing, and then they'll start to fall by around 7 or 8 o'clock as this cold front moves through, and we'll fall into the 20s and teens by late Wednesday afternoon as much colder air begins to move back in. Temperatures this afternoon, not too bad, pretty close to our average high this time of the year in the low 30s, 30 for Lansing currently. 29 in Mason, Charlotte, Hastings 28, Marshall east towards Jackson in the upper 20s. Live conditions in St. John's, current temperature sits at 29 degrees, wind chill of 22, west winds at 7 miles per hour. WLNS Cam just very light, a couple flurries, a couple drops of freezing drizzle, temperature at 29, north winds at 3 miles per hour. In Grand Ledge, we've seen a little more in the way of freezing drizzle, temperatures at 28 degrees, winds are calm currently, humidity at 89%. In Jackson, we've got cloudy skies, temperatures at 29, west winds at 12, feels like temperature at 19 degrees. And in Hillsdale, our current temperature now sits also in the upper 20s at 29 degrees. Here's tonight's forecast. Overnight low drops to 22 with a flurry or some freezing drizzle through around midnight. For tomorrow, a couple passing snow showers, not much expected though. High temperatures continue to climb through tomorrow evening, probably around 33 or so at 11 o'clock or midnight, and that'll also be the high for Wednesday with falling temperatures in the afternoon. Lows single digits Thursday and Friday morning, more snow showers Saturday and Sunday. The 6+6 day, a few leftover snow showers Monday, and then it is just cold next week. No other way to describe it. I mean, lows periodically in the single digits and highs generally in the low to the mid 20s, so get ready for that.
Burr. But I mean, David, it makes the commute a bit easier, but I cannot ever remember there being this little snow at this point in the year.
Yeah, we're starting to drop further and further behind, and the storm check is so far south. Places like North and South Carolina, Virginia that just had snow, they could see more next weekend, so that's where all the stormy weather is.
All right, well, I guess once in a while it's going to miss us. So what are you going to do?
Once in a while it'll get us too.
Yes, we have our share of it. Thanks,
right.
David. Coming up, Jewish leaders from around the Lansing area continue to react to Saturday's hostage situation that included a rabbi born here in our capital city. You'll definitely want to hear that, so stay tuned. 6 News at 5. We'll be right back.
This is 6 News.